Welcome to this third episode of the Conversion Secrets podcast, where we discuss proven conversion optimization tips, as well as the latest strategies we're learning and applying to multiply the amount of leads, sales, and conversions your marketing effort generate. I'm one of your hosts, Alex Tubikov. I'm working as a growth hacker for startups and help their websites and content convert.
Yeah, and my name is Dmitry Zhirov. I'm a copywriter, and we work together with companies to help increase conversions, to make sure that they're multiplying leads, sales, and just getting as much good results from their marketing efforts as possible. So in last episode, we were actually discussing a chart of how to optimizing research and understanding your target audience, what you could do to kind of get in the head of your audience, understand who they are, what they want, and why they want to take action. So just certain pain points, certain elements, things that they fear. And then in today's episode, we're going to be discussing how to actually take that research and turn it into actionable insights that we could take action on right now to get the best results possible.
Yeah, we kind of covered and touched on the strategy overall in the last episode, and right now we're just gonna try to give you guys some practical insights and advice how to come up with the insights, because this is the next step after you did some research, and how to create really cool hypotheses out of those. And then you can present those to your managers, you can present those to your team. If you got a growth team, I really hope you do, because otherwise it's really hard to manage CRO by yourself. And then it's a really high skill level. Not a lot of people know how to actually correctly generate hypotheses. So all right, up to insights. So if you don't remember, or you just weren't listening to the last episode, so research is divided by three sort of pillars. You can call it like this. The first pillar is data and science. The second one is user research. And then we got some best practices and just basic psychology, right? So you gotta dive into each of those pillars to generate some insights and come up with some ideas, test ideas and hypotheses based on the data, based on some again, conversational qualitative insights you'll get from there. So and we're just gonna cover each of those pillars sort of directory more specifically. So where to go, what to look at, and how to start. So let's start with web analytics. It's the first vertical of data and science pillar. It's a very important one. And so again, remember, it's never going to tell you why people are dropping out at some specific point, but it's going to definitely tell you where is it happening, so you know where to focus on. So what you can do to come up with some insights here is you can go to Google Analytics. Right now is J4, because Universal is going to be stopped in a month. You just go to your exploration tab, you go to your funnel view, and hopefully you already got some events being pushed to there from Tag Manager, so you can map out the flow. So you just took the first step is, for example, we're going to be talking about SaaS example, because we do optimize a lot of SaaS businesses. So this is where we're really good at. So if you talk about SaaS, mostly the funnels, the web funnels you want to focusing on is the homepage funnel and then the pricing funnel. So let's talk about the homepage funnel. So the first step again in this exploration tab funnel view is going to be the homepage visits per month or per week. You can do per week. And then from there, the next tab, out of those homepage visits, how many people actually went to the next step, which is sign up process usually. And from the sign up process, they actually started the trial, if there is a trial, and then from trial to conversions to actual purchase. So you can check here, you can add up, you can be more granular and add up checkout page and what's going on checkout, and how many people actually reach it and then drop out. And then as you map this out, you're gonna see, first of all, how much traffic you got and the sample size, so you'll know whether you can or you can't run experiments on which stage of this funnel, because very often is you have a lot of people on homepage, so you can actually write some experiment and A/B test to improve the button clicks or start a free trial, for example, conversions, but it's a low level conversion, as you can imagine, because there is a huge sort of black box which actually behind this, that's gonna prevent you from understanding whether this button click gonna actually affect your bottom line or your purchase or whatever. So you can assume that, like, yeah, if more people click on the button, more of them gonna probably start the trial and convert at the end of the day. But like, it's not how it usually works. So you can really identify which stage is the best in terms of the traffic to run the experiments, what kind of KPI to choose. So whether it's button clicks, if you don't have enough volume or traffic or sample for the trial or for the purchase. If not, if you do, very cool, then you can use this higher level KPI. And this is your number one step. Minji, what do you think of it?
Yeah, I think it's important. Like you said, it doesn't really give you the full picture of what the problem is, but it can tell you that there is a problem and that something needs to be worked on, something needs to be solved. So it's kind of like outlining the perspective for you and just to show you, hey, this part of the website is working really well. This part of the website needs to be improved. And just using web analytics and details is just mapping out the score, right? Like if we were to look at marketing as a game, and every single like analytic is a point, like these are the points that you look at to see where you can improve your game, where you can become better, what needs work, and what's actually working well. But even if something is working well in your marketing, it doesn't mean that it can't be improved further as well. So what it does is it just gives you a baseline, right? And it's like there's a marketing teacher by the name of Dan Kennedy. He always talks about any number is a good number. He's like, I don't care, even if the number is a loss on the front end, like as long as I know what the number is, then I know how to optimize it, right? Like if I'm selling a product on the front end and I'm losing $20 per sale, so I know my customer acquisition cost is like, it's like negative, right? I'm losing money. Then you can know, like, okay, what can we add on? Maybe we could bundle another offer here. Maybe we could add another, pricing tier. Maybe we could try to cut down acquisition costs on the front end. But the point is, there's so many things that you could do to improve the number as long as you know what the number is. So, and web analytics give you exactly that.
And then coming to the next vertical here in data and science is basically the scientific part of it. So if you want to test some hypothesis, you got some idea, the odds are it has already been tested in the past are pretty high. So guys, two research tools to keep in mind, okay? scholargoogle.com and skihub.se. So these two sort of database with all paid research, because usually if you want to read some advanced research that was done by Harvard, by some really research institutions, it's going to be paid. Here, you can get it all for free. And then you go there, for example, ski-hub.se, it's my favorite one, and you search for reason. For example, let's say you got an e-commerce and you're optimizing for some mattresses, right? So, and you want to understand, like, okay, I got something in mind, like, is it gonna work? And so what you're gonna do is you're gonna go there and you're gonna go and you're gonna try to search for something like reasons to buy a mattress online. So to understand why people actually decide to go and buy the mattress online rather than going in local mom and pop and buy it there. And then habits in online like purchase, like in online buying, in online commerce, like what habits people have, motivations to buy mattress in general, like why somebody wants to buy a mattress. You can assume, right? It's probably the old mattress is bad, probably hurts somebody's back, but like you don't really know. Like, and there is you can go search for it, and again you can find most likely 85% chance some studies on this topic to really understand this cool things and insights about the target audience. And then you can search for behavioral model for buying mattress, or why do people buy expensive mattresses, or why do people buy cheap mattresses. It really depends on what you're trying to optimize for. So then you can really create very bespoke and tailored experience on a web page for people. So if it's a cheap mattress, right, there is no point of talking about some, these materials are coming in here from some freaking islands or whatever, because people don't really care. Because if it's already cheap and people are somebody is looking at this page, they probably want to just some cheap stuff to close some pain. Maybe they just moving somewhere and they need a cheap mattress for a couple of weeks until they buy something more serious. So there is a whole psychology and the scientific approach you can take here, and those two websites are going to be your best friends in this case.
Yeah, I think that's a strong point to say that all like a lot of the tests that we think that we're coming up with, they have been done already. There's data, there's information on it, there's reports on it. So it's just like it's never really about resources. It's always about resourcefulness. So sometimes you may not even need to test something. It's like it's been proven to work in multiple different fields, multiple different companies. It's been tested already. So you could save time, you could save money and effort in the process just by doing proper research on the front end and just understanding the situation. And hey, like maybe keep in mind of the date of the research as well, because sometimes it could be a really great report, but if it's like from 1900s, like 1990s or whatever, like customers have changed,
Yeah.
they become smarter, they become more skeptical, they become more like research focused, and so things change, right? But always keep in mind that there is information out there that will kind of give you a direction of what you want to do and what you want to test to get the best results possible.
That's a very good point you just made, actually, and I forgot to mention, right? So yeah, people's behavior and just the way they browse the internet right now, nowadays in 2023, is way different from what they used to do like 20 years ago.
Mhm.
So it's a completely different model, and you have to, yeah, some research you're gonna find pretty old. So you need to keep in mind that actually right now people have more biases, they have more what do you call it, they have more concerns and some fears, and they really they like, dude, 20 years ago when the advertisement just started on the web and people were browsing the websites, the CTR, the click-through rate was 80%, because like it was new for people and they thought, all right, they didn't even know there's like sort of ads online, so people were just clicking everywhere. And right now, dude, try to launch some display call ads, your CTR is going to be 0.5% in the best case. So it is really a solid point. Yeah. And yeah, I just want to point out that yeah, it's a great thought to understand, and just to keep in mind that like people really are different nowadays from what they been like 20 years ago. And
Yeah.
so yeah,
Yeah,
up
I
to
mean, you're right. Like they're completely different nowadays. They've had so much experience. They've been ripped off so many different times.
yeah, hell yeah.
Internet has made it so simple, right? So like we have to counteract that skepticism, but we need to also understand why. Like we need to understand the full picture, and the analytics is just the scorecard. It just really gives you a full idea of what's happening with your marketing, where you can improve.
Speaking of being ripped off, dude, it's to remind me one funny story. Like recently, um I purchased. I'm not gonna mention the name of the company, but I bought this. I started a trial. It was an opt-in trial, so they asked for my credit card, and they were like, "Hey, actually, like we're not gonna charge you. It's gonna be all free, dude. Just give us your card, and then we're gonna send you a reminder that like if something and blah blah." So I was like, "All right, cool." And it was a pretty darn popular company, and I started my trial, and yeah, of course, as you can imagine, dude, I was charged in a week. I just woke up in the morning. I just pulled out my bank account, like there was a minus, money, and I reached out to these guys and I said, "Hey, actually, you lied to me in your website, in your funnel, like on your sign up page, just to make me convert. And I get it, but like, it's not good that like I'm literally just was charged right now by your company." And their response was like, "Oh, actually, we got a no refund policy, so even if you're not gonna use it, we don't care, right?" So no refund policy, and it's actually freaking hidden somewhere on the website. So it's not like they ask for your credit card and they're like, "Actually, we have no refund policy, so please keep in mind, like, set some 25 alarms and notifications not to miss the deadline. Oh, you're gonna be charged and this is gonna be for good." No, dude, they're talking about like you're not gonna be charged, everything's gonna be fine, just go ahead. And then you're charged and you're trying to get your money back because you don't even want to use the software anymore. And all you hear is, "We don't have like any refund policies." So bye, dude, just sorry. And even worse, to make it really worse, I reached out to my bank and I was like, hey guys, this company just fleeced me. They asked for my card, and they told me that they're not going to charge me, and then they charged me. And now when I asked for a refund because I not didn't use the software, they like no refund policy. And my bank was like, oh dude, I'm sorry, but they have no refund policy. There's not much we can do about it. And of course, if you think about it, in this kind of environment and situation, people are going to be very, very careful of what they're buying, like on the website. That's why the credibility concerns are huge right now, massive. People just going browsing the sites. The first thing I'm thinking right now is whether it's a scam or not. Like whether it's a legit website, are gonna be screwed. I don't want to be screwed. So yeah, it's a very great point just to understand how different the world is right now, and the online the web rate is different right now. So yeah, it's crazy. Just yeah.
Yeah, that's wild. Like, and that you could see with every single burn like this, you could see the evolution of the like the marketer side of things, right? Like, if you look at most SaaS companies with free trials, like a lot of them are giving out free trials, and one of the main selling points is no credit card required. Because like so many people have been burned in the past, and so
Yeah.
that fear has become a selling point as well. So it's important to kind of see the market, see what's going on, see how, if people are skeptical, why, and then try to counteract it, right? And just understanding where kind of they've been hurt in the past, so that you could still gain their trust in the front end, and still keep them moving forward. But that that credit card thing, man, it's wild. Like, some people are like, buy this $1 product, and then they charge you like $60 a month or $70 a month, and then like you never know sometimes, right? Some people just kind of let it be, and it's wild how some people are moving. But it's interesting to see the evolution in the marketing side.
And the
To
last thing, yeah, before we move on here, I just want to add
Mhm.
up the little piece of story that I got from a guy. So I got a friend who ran an experiment, and for a SaaS also product, and all he did, he was like, so the reason I'm telling you about this is like, I don't mind if companies do this. I don't mind if companies actually take your credit card up front, but like
Mhm.
if they are upfront, this is what's gonna happen. So
Yeah.
because I know that like conversion rate is higher in this case, but like be honest, be trustworthy, try to communicate everything up front in advance so there is no surprise. So the guy, back to the story, he created an experiment, an A/B test where he completely changed the layout of sign up page to it was sort of a progress bar, but the vertical one, like and like thermostat, where there were like a couple of checkpoints, and each checkpoint was like, all right, so you give us a credit card right now. On day 3, you'll get a notification that your trial is in progress. Our credit card, we have your credit card, and we're gonna charge it in 5 days, and then you're gonna have another notification one day before you're gonna get charged that hey, you're gonna get charged, and all you need to do to stop from prevent this is to reply to this email like, no, don't charge me, stop, whatever, we're not gonna do this, right? And in this case, dude, when it's so upfront and you read, you're reading through it, you understand that hey, these guys really do care about whether I'm gonna be about my concerns. They know what are my objectives while they're asking for my car, so they're overcoming them by being just honest and transparent. So I do think that this kind of transparency is something we really like a lot nowadays.
Yeah. And I mean, depending on like what kind of business owner you are and how you want to operate your company, understand that if you do that sort of thing, you're cutting yourself short. Like, the real value of the customer is in the lifetime of that customer with your business, right? The front end sale is like the least valuable sale that you'll ever get from this customer. That's when you have to pay for that customer to acquire him. You have to put in sweat equity, you have to put in money into ads and stuff like that. The first sale is literally the least profitable sale. That's why sometimes they call it the lost leader. A lot of big companies know that they don't care if they lose money on the front end to sell you something that's not as profitable for them, even if they're losing money like with the margin, with customer acquisition costs and costs of the product to deliver the product itself. Like, it's the repetitive buying that is the value to your company. And so companies that are ripping people off for just that first payment, you guys are cutting yourself short. But also on the other hand, like you were saying, it's good to be transparent. It's good to be upfront. It's better for you as a business owner because then you'll face less refunds, you'll face less chargebacks, you'll have better financials across the board. Just because like the people that are gonna drop off are gonna drop off anyways. So why charge them and then have to refund them? We go through all that headache. Just be upfront. The people that want to pay, they will pay. The people that don't.
Exactly. So up to user research is the next pillar of the optimization research you're going to do to find out these insights and to come up with them. And the couple of verticals in here, very important ones. So the first one is interaction analysis. So basically, guys, what you need to do to utilize this interactivity element and aspect of your website to understand the behavior of your users and your visitors is you just go and install Hotjar. It's very straightforward, very simple. If you're really broke, you don't have money, you can try Lucky Orange. Lucky Orange is quite as good and it's cheap, but these surveys are really bad. Like if you want to try to run surveys through Lucky Orange, it sucks a lot. All they got is polls. They don't have the real survey pop-ups, which are very, very helpful and handy when it comes to collecting this qualitative feedback on why you're dropping out, like did you find any useful information on this page, etc. So you install Hotjar, give it like a couple of weeks to collect the data. Even 1 week is going to be enough, depends on the volume you got. And then what you do is you go to, there are two important sections, heat maps and recordings. You go first to heat maps and you're checking two things. You're checking the scroll depth, you're checking the click map, and there is another one. It's called, I don't remember exactly. It's called mouse movement map or something. That just don't use it. There is no correlation. There was a lot of research on it. There's no correlation between where we move our mouse, where we look at. So it's usually, yeah, it's usually different. And so it's, this map's not going to tell you much. And then the scroll depth is something you need to understand really good. Like here is when somebody's not scrolling, it's not bad. Okay. So a lot of people think is, oh, they don't scroll, they drop out. No, like, unfortunately, Hotjar can't tell you that they dropped out or they didn't, but what it can tell you is if they don't scroll, it can be like both good or bad indicators. So why is it good? Because the 70% of people, they make a decision on the by default section. If basically you make them to scroll, it's a good indicator that your value prop sucks, or that your above default section doesn't communicate your benefits in a way that people can relate to. And these forces them to scroll down and trying to find out more information below the page, which is not good for you as an optimizer. So it's a good opportunity for you if you see that a lot of people actually scrolling down is to put up some important information, up on the page to make them experience the value like instantly. And then the click map is very good stuff to see the usability of your page. So if people are clicking on some element that they're not supposed to click on, for example, some like, I don't know, very often is like people, add up, designers especially add up some elements like graphics or some, that looks like, they look like button, or like they look like something you can click on, but you can't, and people trying to click on it and they can't click on it, and then you're like, all right, so you need to change it because it's an extra friction and makes people, it really pisses them off. And another thing is sometimes people trying to click on something that this is important for them. Like very often very often stuff that I find is you on a homepage, usually designers, they put together some bullet points like the benefits, and sometimes you can find in Hotjars that people click on one specific benefit a lot. So that's a good indicator that they really can relate to this benefit. They want to learn more on the one side. So you can try to, double down on this specific particular benefit down the page to explain more about it. Or it can be also a bad indicator that they don't understand what the fuck it's talking about. So then in this case, you need to be more specific or more creative in a way of, presenting the value in this benefit. So this is the Hotjar element.
Yeah. It's really cool that you're mentioning this tool because like it's really just you get to see what your customer is doing. You get to see inside the mind of your customer, get to see where they're looking at, what they're focusing on, what they're, like analyzing. And you were mentioning this in terms of scroll depth as well. Understand that, yes, like while 70% of people, if your value prop is good, will take action right away, you'll still always have some scrollers, because the buyers market is divided into like emotional buyers and logical buyers. Logical buyers just need more information. That's just typical. You see those like long-winded funnels, a lot of
Yeah,
like research, a lot of information. That's not for the emotional buyer. That the above the fold section is for the emotional buyer, and the rest of it is for the logical buyer. So don't like panic if you still see some people scrolling. You will always have people that are reading, people that are looking into things in every single market with every single product as
that's
well.
true. That's exactly the
Mhm.
case. And then the next part of it is customer feedback. Okay, so it's a very also pretty deep vertical in this pillar, is trying to collect the qualitative data from your users or from your customers. So there are plenty of ways you can do this. I'm gonna just touch base on all of them a little bit. So first thing, the very simple one you can set up by yourself in Hotjar. You just go and you create a survey and you set up a condition. Oh, actually, I forgot to mention, dude. I can imagine I forgot to mention it. So back, I'm gonna shift gears to qualitative to sorry interactive interactivity analysis. So we talked about heat maps and scroll maps, but we didn't talk about recordings. So recordings is another very cool feature Hotjar can offer you. So it's going to record the session of people what they're doing on the website. So you can put up, like, usually what I do is I put in like 4x speed. You can do 2x, and you just watch somebody doing stuff on your website. Isn't it cool? So you can see whether they like moving their mouse, whether they're scrolling, whether they stuck on somewhere, reading, trying to something. Usually it's like when they just don't move, it's like they go Google something. So very cool feature. And it literally, in my experience, gave me so much feedback, so much insights, and so many cool ideas that, yeah, I definitely recommend guys utilize it and just try to watch, at least when you try to optimize some page, at least 20-50 recordings. And you can prioritize based on relevancy in Hotjar. It has some machine learning models that are going to tell you which are the most likely, the most insightful sessions, so you can just watch them all, and that's really cool. So
Yeah. And just to
yeah.
mention, guys, we're not affiliated with Hotjar in any way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, these are just tools that I think that we think are really important in terms of optimizing your web events, just getting the best results that you can. And just the beauty of these tools is that it eliminates a lot of false opinions. Because people may have opinions, everybody may have a different opinion, some opinions may be conflicting, but when you get like the hardcore truth, the data, the numbers don't lie. They'll tell you exactly what's going on. And then by being able to watch the recording of your customer as well, then you could take away a lot of the guesses, a lot of the wonders, right? You could just see what is actually happening and take action based on that information. And if you have accurate data on the front end, like you were saying, it's if you put garbage in, you get garbage out. So if you take in the wrong information and you start implementing different strategies and different techniques in your marketing by those different, like by the wrong information, you're going to get shit results regardless. Either way you twist it, like you got to make sure that on the top level that you have the right information, you have the right data, you have the right analysis, so that the moves that you're taking forward are going to be, in the right direction and not kind of leading you off into some random path.
Yeah, exactly. So once again, up to customer feedback is, let's not use Hotjar, because Dima just did a very good point. I don't want anybody to think to be affiliated with them. So let's use Intercom. Intercom also can have surveys, although Hotjar surveys, in my opinion, better. But if you do for the websites, but for the product, yeah, I would use Intercom. So the idea is simple. You set up a survey for people so you need to divide them down into two segments. So the first segment is those who visited your website, they did some specific action, like they scroll down, they've been around for like 45 seconds, 50 seconds, and then they're about to drop out. How you know this? If they hover their mouse over the cross button in a tab, in a Google Chrome tab or whatever browser they use, so you can show them up a survey. Hey, like, why are you dropping out? Like, why are you leaving? Did you quick survey, for example? You can say, hey, quick question. Were you able to find the information you were looking for on this page? And people usually going to tell you, like, either, they're not going to tell you anything, or they're going to tell you, oh, actually, I was looking for this and didn't find it. So that's why I'm, dipping right now. And this is a very, very cool, a way of collecting these thoughts from people and qualitative ideas just by asking, hey, what's going on? Why are you doing this? Another cool stuff is after somebody actually did the conversion you're trying to optimize for, what you can do is you can ask a question. What almost stopped you from doing this conversion, right? What almost stopped you from buying a mattress? What almost stopped you from, continuing a trial and paying for a plan if we optimize for a SaaS business? So by asking this question, and your customers, they already made a payment, they are more invested and they're more interested in providing you some answer and some response. And they can tell you, and they have this fresh, in their memory, so they can say, actually, I was thinking about like competitors and like what they offer for the price. Or another thing is, I wasn't sure about your customer support. They didn't look very, seem very responsive. So these two surveys going to give you a lot of insights. Another just little kind of hint here, you can use polls in Hotjar. Is you can use, or any other again software, there is a button you can add up in a snippet to your page. It's going to be on the right of your screen of users, and you can put it on the left. And so when you're browsing the product, then users are doing something, you can click on this button and you can select an emoji, like whether you're liking the page or dislike it. And then you can, if you dislike it or you like whatever, you can put a comment like, hey, I don't like it because look, it's not working, or I don't understand what to do next, right? So there is a clarity heuristics problem, and this is how you can also identify a lot of problems and insights. Then you can combine a hypothesis based on customer feedback.
Yeah, just getting into the mind of the customer, it's so valuable. It's so valuable. Asking them like, well, what almost stopped them, what almost held them back, but also asking them like, what made you buy? What was the main selling point? What was the main reasoning? And just getting like multiple perspectives. But in terms of the clicking the button and then having the survey pop up, it's actually cool. I've seen other versions of that kind of like pullback marketing. And instead of surveys, they give you an offer.
The
They're
offer,
like,
right?
oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
get a
yeah, like,
discount, right?
yeah, because they assume, they probably from research, they assume that price is often the reason why people are bouncing off. It's best if they did their research and not just kind of swinging for the fences, hoping that was the reason. But I've seen a lot of really good marketers like put in an offer, put in something really compelling, as somebody's like scrolling to click off. So it's really cool. Like you could really optimize your website to make sure you get the best results in multiple different ways. It's not just about optimizing the page. It's like, what do you do if somebody's about to click off? Are you giving them another offer, or giving them a reason to stay, a reason to like keep reading or keep actually just trying it out? A lot of tools that you
And
could use.
that's kind of funny. I don't want to let other optimizers down, but guys, what I found is really helpful is like when you have some software, when you use something and you're really like thinking of, oh, maybe it's really expensive for me. Just dude, try to bail out. They're gonna offer you a lot of stuff, a lot of bonuses. I go to Beaver, and at some point I was like, screw it, $300, not gonna pay for it. And then I was like, actually, I can lower this down. So I went ahead, I canceled it, and they sent me an email. Oh, we really appreciate you as a customer. So, we want to offer you this 3 months discount. So instead of $300, it's $150. And at some point, I just started doing this before actually making a purchase. So because I know it's going to give me some discount. So like if you go to some e-commerce website and you're like adding something to your cart, and then what you can do is you can close the page and go chill out. And then you come back because you're going to get an email from them. Hey, actually, there is an extra discount to your goods that are already in the cart. Just click a button. It's going to get in here like, tomorrow. You're like, hell yeah, that's what I want. So it's kind of, anti-CRO sort of advice. But dude, this is so helpful. Yeah, make sure to use it.
Yeah, that's so funny. Like you're talking to the customer now directly, and like any optimizer, any marketer is gonna be like, yo, why are you
Yeah,
saying this stuff, right?
exactly,
But
dude.
and it's smart. It's so smart to like on the side of the customer. It's smart to understand these different methods, but like a regular customer, a regular person would not know this information. Like we're in CRO. We optimize these kind of things. We think about these kind of things like, okay, here's a drop off rate. How do we get people back in? What's the lifetime value? So we know these little hacks, but don't worry. Like if you're applying a lot of this stuff, the regular everyday customer will not know these little things. Like they may have experienced some little like kickbacks in the past and seen these little processes, but we've seen full systems of how these things operate. So we know like, oh, if I start this and I cancel it here, then I'll get a bonus, da da da. But it's like for regular customers, they won't understand. They won't see this coming. So don't be afraid if you're a company and you're like trying to optimize to pull back more customers to with different offers, different incentives. People aren't really going to be taking advantage of it. Like regular customers, just because they don't know, they have no idea that this stuff even exists. And they have no idea that people are doing this kind of stuff. They just see it as a quick little bonus, a quick little treat, and then they're off on their day. They don't sit there thinking about this stuff like we do.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I
another
just feel
point to mention,
we are just not a representative. Yeah.
yeah,
I feel like, oh, one
yeah,
second.
because we're a different audience completely. But another point to mention is that like I think it's Russell Brunson that talks about this. He talks about funnel hacking a lot. And it's like if you want to see some of the best strategies in any company, like conversion strategies, optimization strategies, go to your competitors and actually be a customer. Like pull
Right.
up your credit card, go buy from them, see what their buy flow is like, see what their sign up flows are like, and you'll see a lot of research, probably thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars worth of research just in the way that they test their flows, where they have their buttons, where they have their copy, what they say at different stages of the funnel, what their actual process is like. Do they have upsells, downsells, whatever? From the outside, you'll never get this information. Like, they probably will never tell it to you. They'll never want to release that information to you if you're a fellow marketer and you're a competitor in that space. But if you just go and act like a customer and just actually buy and go through the process, you're going to get a lot of the insight. You're going to be able to see a lot of what's actually happening. So that's just another point to
It's
mention.
there is actually a name of it, like what Russell Brunson was talking about. It's called method marketing. It's like one of like really permanent important stuff you can do is you should get a tacit knowledge of a real like this product you're trying to optimize of user to understand the whole spectrum of emotions and feeling people experience while using the product on a daily basis. So if you aren't a target customer, become one for a day, right? Just go and yourself follow through that's what also we usually do when we start optimizing some SaaSes or some businesses. It's like we go through the whole funnel ourselves and trying to learn as much as possible about what, just try to feel through it. And so by carrying out this method marketing with competitors, particularly with offline ones, it works very good. With you can get a lot of knowledge and you can understand the sales funnel of competitors use. So and you can try to make your funnel more sophisticated based on this. So yeah, just lots of caveats and insights that are applicable to online funnels, and you can get a lot of value from method marketing as well. So next part here is customer service. Very, very guys, simple point. All you have to do, that's all you have to do, is you go to your Google Calendar, you pick some time like this works for you and for some customer support dude in your company, and you hop on a call and you just talk. And all you have to ask is one question: what sucks? Because believe me, nobody asks them this question. Very rarely product teams are smart enough to ask support team, well, I'm not talking about very good product teams, to talk about, hey, what sucks so we can improve it. Usually what they hear is, hey, it sucks, help me. And they're like, okay, here we go again, right? But like, if you ask, I'm just curious what sucks in our funnel, like what people go through that really is bad. They're gonna just talk for an hour with you about things that really are bad and not user-friendly, at piss people off and users off. And like, if you make this happen, like it's gonna make their life easier and users' life easier a lot. So dude, utilize this voice of customer aggregator channel and talk a lot with your support team. You can ask them, even go further and ask them, hey, actually, this is so helpful. You can say, thank you so much. Can you also please in the future just create a Google Sheet file where you just mark down all the objections you hear from people, all the insights you're getting from actual tickets or from support claims, sorry, not claims, but support conversations, just to understand why and what people really don't like, users don't like about the experience. And you can go further. What you can also do is, if you use some support system like Crisp or Intercom or Drift, you can ask them to label the insightful conversations. So you can go once in a month, go over all the labeled chats and just see what really was bad, what was good, and trying to create some ideas out of it. So make sure to use it.
Yeah, it's so important. Your customer support team is on the front lines. They probably know your customer audience better than like a lot of people within your company, and just understanding what makes them like you, what makes them dislike you, what sucks, what doesn't suck. So there's a gold mine of information with them there. But also, like, you could jump on a call with a customer as well. And like, because you were doing that for one of the clients that we're working with, and just jumped on a call, recorded the call, and it was so much information just on who they are, what they kind of talk like, what their verbiage is, and like, if we take that information, we apply it in our marketing. Say, for example, they have a consistent like word that they use in a specific industry, or something that they consistently say, right? We just take that and start saying that on the top of funnel in our ads and our marketing, and just kind of like blend in, but yeah, there's a lot of information with customer service teams. So make sure A, you have them, and then B, that you're actually questioning and just asking them as much as you can.
Right. Then we got one more thing here, but it's a huge thing. So we're probably gonna leave it for the next episode. It's gonna be usability testing. So how to actually come up with insights by doing usability study. There is a lot of ways. There's moderated and unmoderated ways, and they're completely different. So you gotta understand how to ask the right questions, how to go through this, through a funnel with people, with users, without asking biased questions, and trying to, collect a lot of insight by talking to them and trying to do specific actions on your website. And we're also going to be talking about heuristics in one of the next episodes as a part of the last pillar, which is psychology and just best practices. And we're going to talk about heuristics evaluation and how you can utilize the psychology, like from Cialdini or influence psychology, precision psychology, to optimize for if you don't have enough data, or you don't have, you need to run something quickly, roll out an experiment, and you don't have time right now to do some other kind of research, which you always are going to be doing later. So, and to wrap this up, guys, very important is, as promised in the beginning, the framework, just go-to solution, how to go-to framework, how to create hypothesis. Okay, so very important one, because you collected these insights, and now you need to put together hypothesis so you can come up to other people in the company and present it to them. Okay, so there is one framework I really like. It's called problem solution outcome framework. Very simple one, but it's really important. So it's basically goes like this. So if we apply this UX solution, like usability solution, then this outcome will happen. This outcome meaning data. So something specific in terms of the percentage increase, revenue increase, whatever. Then you be more specific. You have to be more specific among these users, where you use another part of data. Maybe you optimize for some segment of people because of, and then the problem, because of this problem where you can use psychology. So again, if we apply this solution, then this outcome will happen among these users because of this problem. Very simple example. If we optimize the value proposition on our above default section, then more people will end up clicking on start trial button among brand owners because of the new headline being more related and relevant to them if they're coming from a Google Ad source based on the relevancy heuristics. And this is a very, very strong hypothesis. And you can go even more specific and say, instead of then more people going to end up starting trial, you can say then 5% more people are relatively going to end up starting trial. And this strong hypothesis is going to be your fundamental thing when you're going to be optimizing for, what you're going to be optimizing for in this experiment, and we're going to be then analyzing for, and you're going to be, learn for. So this is very cool, cool stuff that you can utilize in your day-to-day optimization work, and just educate other people on how important it is, and be really, really just, show off in a very concise and simple way to others what you're trying to do in this specific experiment.
Yeah, I think that's such an important point, I think, that you brought up, because you want to take this optimization like a real scientist. Like, you create a hypothesis, you create a test, and then you create like an analysis at the end, right? Like, you want to make sure that you're keeping track of everything that you're doing, just so that you start building this knowledge base. Because like down the line, somebody may ask you, hey, what if we reverted back to this and this and that? You could bring up the studies and say, hey, I had this same hypothesis as you, or we started here, I thought this too, like this is a great idea, I thought it was a great idea too, but here are the results, right? This is what we've found. And so when you have facts to back it up, then nobody could really argue against it, and then you could save yourself a lot of time. On the other hand as well, it's like it gives you and your team direction, so that you know exactly what everybody needs to work on, what the test is all about, what you need to do, and how to actually move forward to implement this test and get the analysis, get the report back. But keeping track of everything that you're doing, every test that you're implementing, it's so valuable. Like, I've even seen in email marketing, there was this guy, and I bought this offer as well. This guy was documenting over 5,000 different headlines, over 5,000 different email tips, and or not tips, sorry, split tests. And then he was just selling the reports. He's like, I did 5,000 different split tests in my emails. I found the headlines that work the best, the length of copy that works the best. Here it is. He, like, for whatever, but I don't remember what he was selling it for. But like, this information is so valuable that people are literally willing to buy it from you as well. Not to say that you may want to sell it, but valuable information to have nonetheless.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree. Well, thanks for listening to our conversational optimization podcast with your host, Alex Tupikov and Dima Zhirov. We hope you enjoyed our deep dive into all the tips and tricks you can use to help improve your website and content. And if you're keen to see these ideas can be applied in the real world, join us next week, and we'll be talking about usability study and how to talk with people going through the funnel and trying to understand the pain points based on real interviews with your customers or just users from your target audience. So as always, you can head over to theunicorn.io to check out our website. We do optimize SaaS companies and their websites for better conversion rates, so they can generate more revenue out of the same marketing spend they got. And yep, that's all for this episode, folks. See you next time.
Yep. Take care, everybody. Talk to you soon.
All right.